You're running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, everybody. Quasar Markets Live here. It is Friday. A lot going on this morning. Housing numbers. Let me be honest with you. I was kind of not sure about these housing numbers. It seems like we have a pop in them. Better than expected. Last month, May, was really down about over 9%. And this month, it'll tick up to the upside. I'm not seeing that. Look, I'm not seeing people building houses, and I'm not seeing houses being sold. So housing starts to me seems to be an off-putting number here. So I'm not sure if this is a catch-up number or whatever. We have seen some issues in the numbers being obviously fixed the next month, updates. So I would not put a lot of faith in that. Now, I will tell you, with those housing numbers pushing up, it fits with the narrative of the Fed. So the Fed saying we don't want to raise rates because inflation. We don't want to raise rates because unemployment is pretty good. Jobs are happening. I mean, if these are the real numbers, then yeah, I can see where the Fed's saying that. Now, you did see where yesterday Fed's Waller now says, yes, I am definitely voting to lower rates. Also put his name in the hat to be Fed chair. So it might be a little bit of a shakeup there. Kevin Warsh seems to be the front runner there. So the Fed has been, and it is right now, it seems to be in the forefront of what is going on. So let's see how that's happening. Yesterday, obviously, the crypto bills moved forward in the House. President Trump had all of the dissenters into the Oval Office and had a chat with them. Probably had to set them down and said, pass my bill. This is going to get bad. So we are now seeing that those bills passed, and volatility in the crypto market, Bitcoin all over the place, could be where we start to see a little bit of the and I think a lot of people will be happy of the altcoins, right? The alt season, as we call it in the business. Will alt season start to hit? And I think the answer is yes for a little while, but really most of this was already baked into the numbers. It seems to be a struggle now. The struggle bus is around 120. Get up there, and then more shorts. This is not a place where I'd be shorting. I just wouldn't be shorting the crypto market right now. Too much is going on. The president has definitely got that wrapped up right now as he's working on that right now. So let's get to it right now. I know I've been talking quite a bit about it, and I'm going to continue to talk about it. Tesla, 321.44, pushing up again. Yesterday, Tesla ended up in the downside. Kind of felt that was the case yesterday. And I had a feeling that the markets it started to get to the top here. We're pushing. Look, it seems to me that this is it's starting to look like 1999 all over again, where we had a few stocks that were holding up the rest of the market, and it looks like the Mag 7 is doing that right now. The rest of the markets are pretty much flat. There's some new numbers that came out this morning that 450 out of the S&P 500 were pretty much flat for the year, and of course the Mag 7 all pushing higher. So that seems to me that, no, I get it. Tech. That's what I've been saying for over 2 years now. Tech is what got us into it. Tech is what's going to get us out of it. Tech has got us out of it so far. So we're seeing that. But at the same time, what is next? That's what we always have to look at, the mispricing of pricing. And while it seems that every day there's a new high, or tries to maybe it pulls back a little bit, is that I'm concerned that this market is now getting above its skis. I've said this for a while now. Can the market go higher? Absolutely. The market can outlast you and your portfolio. It doesn't care about you and your portfolio. It's a business. It's a machine. It does its own thing. There's algos involved. There's big institutions involved. There's retail involved. There's crazy people involved. There's crypto now involved. There's ETFs involved. Zero DTEs involved. I can keep going on and on and on. The market's changed over the last 10 years, right? And how it works. And so because of that, I think you're seeing a little bit of different dynamics going on. Now, right now, we normally in the summer, we call the doldrums, summer doldrums in the markets. that the market itself slows down, right? The volume slows down. They go up to the Hamptons, the institutions do. But this, obviously in the last few years, it really hasn't been that biggest case of that because people still have their phones in their hands. They're still making trades through their phones, which is cool. But I will also say that at some point, these institutions are going to have to do some window dressing. And there could be some window dressing at the end of the month. What do I mean by window dressing? Okay, it's a technical term, long-term term, to show that the markets are that institutions or ETFs or whatever the big firm is, that they are fully vested. If you look at Merrill Lynch, if you look at Jamie Dimon, you look at these companies, they are fully vested. JP Morgan is the highest invested in the markets ever. It looks like Goldman Sachs also the highest level of investments into all kinds of investments. So they are managing more money now than they ever have. Yeah, there's more money out there. I get that. We're also seeing money coming in from international too again. And this new bill that's passed in the House for crypto going to the Senate now will allow 401ks, retirement accounts, to be able to invest in crypto. So the world here right now is getting a little bit wonky right now. So be careful out there. I am very concerned that this sell-off is going to happen. It's going to happen on a few days, and it's going to be like what just happened, to be a massive rug pull. So be careful out there. Now, saying that, it looks like we're going to see a little bit of another opening bell of another to the upside here. Could push a little bit more. Remember, it is Friday. The volume is lower. It is the middle of summer. It is going to be a low volume day, unless there's some crazy tweet. We gotta be careful with those, obviously. But we're not really seeing the markets right now. We're not really seeing people just running around going, okay, I've got to invest my hard-earned money right now into some stock. I'm looking for that. I look finding alpha right now, finding companies that are way underpriced so that you can go long-term long. I'm not finding that, and I have machines to help me find those stocks, and there are not that many out there. There may be story stocks, meaning that there's some story around it. Maybe some PR came out or some story about how they're being bought out or mergers and acquisitions. But I'm not really seeing the next level of this. And so when I find that I don't understand the market, then there's usually a reason for it, right? That, for someone like myself, this is 34, turning on 35 years of being in the markets, I can tell you that when I look at mispricing or pricing, back in April when the capitulation happened and people were crying about the markets, that was easy for me, right? I like, okay. If everybody's going to dump, guess what? I'm in the ticker taker. We talked about that for the last few weeks. But when you look forward and you got to go, okay, I've got to figure out where I'm going to invest. What am I going to be buying? What am I going to invest in? And a lot of times, especially new investors, they really don't know what to invest in, right? They're kind of lost sometimes, right? They're kind of in a point where they really don't know how to find that alpha, right? I'm gonna look for PE ratios. Well, that's great. So is everybody else. Oh, I'm going to look for this ratio. And for me, one of the ratios that I look at is PEG ratio, which is PE growth. All right, because I want to see growth. I don't want to see price to earnings, and I don't want to see low PE, and I don't want to see high growth. I looked at PEG ratios, right? And I couldn't find a lot of companies out there that are quality that I feel like I could just shove my money into and walk away from. It just isn't. This just isn't there. I've heard some people yesterday talk about Oracle. Some people talk about Google companies that I agree with that are undervalued. But are they something that won't go down with the rest of tech? Or tech gets hit? Nope, they will go down. So looking at alpha for me, okay, do we move into utilities? Do we move into energy? Do we move? Well, nuclear has already moved up. Oil has moved up. The ones that will move up. Okay, utilities. Those have already moved up. Almost everything that we have talked about, those sectors have already made their move, right? AI's made their move. Cloud made their move. Now there is a sector that I am interested in that there's a reason for it because I've lived it almost all of my life. My mother is a was a pharmacist, and I'm very interested in the biotech sector. And the biotech sector to me seems like the next level of all of this. As we start to see, we saw a little bit of Eli Lilly, right? Eli Lilly has made a great move here, and Novo Nordisk as well for their stock, their weight loss drugs too as well. But there are some stocks in that general area that it should push up. We do have a new FDA Secretary of FDA, Housing and Urban Development (HUD), and a new secretary over at State Department. Those three things together are what, to me, I have to worry about with biotech. All right, what do you mean by that, Steve? Well, obviously, with FDA, I have to look at the FDA governors over there. I have to look at drugs, right, that are getting approved. With HUD, usually looking at vaccinations, in Section 8s. And then, when you look at it from the perspective of State Department buys a lot of vaccinations for international. So this vaccination is an issue because we have an administration that really, kind of doesn't even believe in vaccinations. So I'm not going to get into the politics of it. Don't care. I do care about whether or not those companies are buying those vaccinations and those drugs. And it looks like that we are seeing some cutbacks in State Department, cutbacks at the FDA, cutbacks everywhere. So the question mark is, who's buying them if the government's not buying them, right? And it's got to be hospitals and medical places like injuries and emergency care, things of that nature. Are they looking at normal meds, things that have been working forever, or they're looking at experimental drugs? And I think experimental drugs are all in the teaching hospitals, right? So around the country, we have teaching hospitals. Those have also been cut back, as healthcare has been cut back. We know that because of insurance is cut back on what they're paying for. Premiums have gone up. We just saw that again, that Obamacare, looking at premium cares this morning, they're also that premium care will also cost more, right? So there's a lot of things that are going on here in the biotech sector. Are they still building new drugs? Yes. Will they do it at the same level? Probably not. So for that reason alone, biotech seems to be an area where I'd like to move into, but the theme around it isn't quite giving me the answer yet. So I want to keep my eye peeled in the biotech sector. And luckily enough, the Quasar Markets has the complete FDA database. I know there are other companies that do it. We have everything they have and more, plus the AI side of it, the calendar side to it. Go into quasarmarkets.com, sign up. You can get yourself going right into the FDA calendar. You can go right into the FDA. You can see what companies. You can also write from it. You can see charts and the fundamentals behind those companies too. I always look at that too as well. And then you can also AI the Fred and Edgar database to make sure these are real companies and doing real things and building things. So there's a lot of cool things that we're doing with the FDA database. But that is the sector that I'm very interested in the biotech sector. Am I interested in the biotech sector for weight loss drugs alone? No. I think that's good. I noticed that finally Jim Cramer talking about it yesterday. GLP-1s, he's wrong. It's GLP-2s now that are the bigger thing. Shocker. But I do like the fact that when you look in the GLPs, that Eli Lilly in and of itself started the GLP-1. Obviously, we know Norris when the GLP-1 and GLP-2. It's how they block the two blockers. And I can go into it, but let's just say that Eli Lilly has a winning advantage because they're working on the pill now. And I think people that are nervous about more shots, we saw that happening during COVID, right? People were nervous about shots. But that in the next level of this, right, is that if everybody takes a pill and we're all, not seeing as many people, I drove by McDonald's yesterday. Nobody's in the McDonald's, right? It's empty. It's drive-throughs now going, 24 hours. The change that's happening is happening pretty big, right? The way that we live in this country is changing. How we eat, what we eat, and the process of what we eat. I think people are starting to realize ultra processed food is not good for us. So I think the philosophy around ultra processed food. So those companies that are making ultra processed foods are also not doing as well either, right? Organic is doing much better here. I think organic farms. So some of these companies out there that will do very well in this next phase is why I'm looking at biotech stocks. As these companies are focused on the weight loss drugs, now they need to focus bigger on cancer. They need to focus on heart disease. Maybe they don't have to focus as much because maybe people aren't eating as much ultra processed food. Maybe their weight loss, their A1Cs, all those things that make them healthier, also make them a much better person too, right? So that they as they live longer too, is right, is what we talked about. I think Elon Musk has been talking about people living longer, and we need to replenish the earth with more people. I don't know that's always the case, but we do need to make sure that everybody's healthier, and that lowers the costs at these hospitals if the people are So there's a lot of things going on in that aspect. That is my theme that I'm looking at as I'm looking for companies to invest in. One of them that I looked at the other day was GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. We'll get to the charts here in a second as we start to talk about these biotechs. So let's get to that. I think everybody's always interested in charts. As you know, I love charts, but it's not the end all be all. I want everybody to understand that, right? That the end all be all is not charts. So people are just go, oh, charts are everything. Charts are everything. And they're not everything. They're part of the plan of as you look at it. So let me pull up. This is the QQQ, and I'm gonna. All right, this is the daily chart. I'm gonna pull up GSK, GlaxoSmithKline. There we go. This is what I mean by I'm gonna pull up a daily chart. We have seen GlaxoSmithKline here around 36.47, up 1% here, a little bit, 0.82%. I'm gonna pull up a weekly chart. There you go. You've seen GSK over the work itself down a bit here. This was a $60 stock. I think the 52-week here high is 44.67. But back in the day, this is one of those. Another one is Merck, right? Merck Company, right? So this is the one that I am looking at in the future. So you can see here, Merck. This was a $150 stock back in last May. Today it's at 81.52, down a little bit, down to the 1% yesterday. Got down to, you can see here, the 52-week low here is 73.31. So there's your, if you're going long, you're looking at these companies. There you go. There's a there's where your risk reward is. You put your stop limit there. And then the top here obviously is over 160. So there are some gaps, not much, but there are some gaps. And you can see it right here. So this could be the next run 97. I am looking at Merck as one. There was a couple of days ago, gave you a buy signal on the weekly. And on the monthly chart, this is what I'm looking at. Yeah, see, you had a bunch of buyers down here at the 70s back in 2021. So this a lot of support down here in the buyers. So Merck is one that I definitely am interested in. So it's going up on my radar right now as a company to go forward long term. Now, earlier we talked about it in the insurance companies. This is one I understand. I get it. You can see here, I've laid it out earlier for the Fibonacci, that this is where the massive support down here, 288. That's why you're seeing this holding here pattern. So I am starting to keep my eye on UNH. As people get healthier, they need less insurance, and premiums go up. That's good for UNH. So this one, finally, yeah, I get it. I know there's some problems there. Fully aware of the problems there. But I think maybe we could start to see a little bit here. All right. Merck, Glaxo, Eli Lilly. We do Eli Lilly again for everybody who wants to know. There's Eli Lilly there too as well. It's done its thing. We've talked about that. It had a sell-off signal not too long ago and hasn't stopped from there. People are still trying to push it up with some of the news here, but I'm just not. As much as I love it now, and I've been long it and talked about it several times, even on Schwab and a few other places, that this is for me not quite the perfect company here. Still got some more things. the pill, as I said earlier. But I'm looking for alpha. That's the one thing I talked about all morning long. I'm looking for alpha. So if I'm looking at Merck, I'm looking at those. I'm also looking at Pfizer. So Pfizer, if you go back all the way back to 2022, back in January, that stock was at 58. Today, the stock's at 24.61. It gave you a small buy signal not too long ago, back in May, and right around 23. It hasn't made a move yet. Pfizer's has had some problems, right? But they're also working on, yeah, there you go, some new drugs too as well. So Pfizer could be one, but it's a big company, does its own thing. Pfizer also, there you go, market cap 139 billion. Here's the thing that's interesting to me. The volume yesterday was 47.39 million. Average volume over the last 100 days is 39. I'm seeing a little bit more volume in Pfizer. So if I am looking at Pfizer, and by the way, while you are looking at Pfizer and while you are investing in Pfizer, it's also paying a 7% dividend rate right now. I mean, now they may cut it. I don't know. I don't think they will because they've got a pretty good. But you can see here they've made their money, right? They're doing quite well. Their income is good, so they are making money. So that's another one that I do like. And then Bristol Myers Squibb. So here you go, same situation. PFE, BMY, and MRK. If you're looking at these companies, and by the way, Bristol Myers also sports a 5% dividend. So while you're waiting for these to come out and to create new drugs and build new drugs, these are quality companies, right? They may fall apart. I'm not telling anybody to buy or sell, but right now I'm looking at those three companies. So I'll pull it up: BMY, PFE, MRK. Hopefully that's giving me. I'll put those in there as well, and then I will create it so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. There you go. There's the three symbols if you were playing at home. There you go. BMY, PFE, and MRK. I am looking at them. I've not made a move yet, but when I say that I'm looking for alpha, these are the companies that I'm looking at in the biotech sector. I'm not looking at crazy biotechs right now. I'm not looking for penny biotechs right now. Trust me, I do love those more than anybody. But right now, these are the three that if you're looking to long term, these are the three that I'm very interested in. Why am I not making the move here? Well, we have people that are in this administration that don't necessarily believe that the pharmaceuticals is the way to go. I don't disagree or agree with them, because people need to be healthy, right? And sometimes these drugs are put on the planet for us to be made, are good. But I'm not going to get into that political side of it. You're welcome, Ron. Good morning, Ron. Appreciate that. But these are the companies that I'm looking at if you have a long-term portfolio and that you're interested in you look. I think one of the things is when you have that high of a dividend yield, right, the chances of people shorting it via zero DTs and all that are a lot lower, right? They don't want to go long term with these drugs because if you are short, let's say by buying naked puts, you got to buy that dividend, right? You got to pay that dividend. Nobody wants to do that. So you've got some hidden protection as well as some support lines if you're looking at it from this, and fundamentally you're looking at it's also good. So these companies are very undervalued right now to me, and that's what I'm saying when I look at these companies about value, right? Alpha. I want alpha. I want alpha. I want alpha. Well, it's hard to find alpha sometimes in these markets, especially when they're as high as they are. But here we are. All right, we got about 5 minutes now to the open here. Bitcoin again struggling at the 118. We'll pull that up for everybody. Bitcoin, yeah, there we go. I'll pull up the 1 second chart. We are struggling here on the struggle bus at the 120 handle this morning. You can see it walking itself down over the last 10 minutes. I think shorts are trying to put into it. I don't really, for me, I think it's a little silly right now. I wouldn't be short this market in crypto in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Because I think that you're going to start seeing a lot of buyers stepping in, institutional buying as well as 401k buying, which soon will be able to happen. And these old people want to be buying Bitcoin in their portfolio. So I would not be touching Bitcoin to the downside in any way, shape, form, or fashion. I think it's silly. But there are going to be some, there's going to be some volatility because you are going to see miners taking some profit here. They need some money to continue to buy these machines up. But I definitely would not want to be short this market. No way. I think we're going to quarter million. Probably our next move, as I said on the show here, 125 pretty quickly. So, all right. What's next here? Okay. We got about 5 minutes now to the open. 45.20 on the VXX. Really haven't had a lot of movement there in the VXX. As you know, I am loaded up on this. I am not making any change. Let me pull up a 1 hour chart so you can see. Look, with all of this, there you go. You can see over the last this whole month, last 2 weeks, nothing, right? There's a build up here, right down here. You can see this line here. I'll pull this line up for you if you need it. Help you out. You can see that line right down there, right? There's nothing really going. It's a higher low, which means we could, but people don't know that, right? We don't know what's happening, right? So I'm going to pull up a daily chart. There you go. This is what I'm saying to everybody. Look at this. This thing is telling you in the upper mid 40s is where this massive support is. So I would not be going against that. I'd be very careful here on the VXX. So yeah, I know there could be some at the end of the month. I get all of that. I am paying attention. But there's some massive gaps here. There's one to 46 here. And then, of course, there's some up here. And there's one right there to 52. And then there's one you can see here, this hammer up there. Boom. Try to touch the bottom of this one. And then, of course, you had a massive doji to the downside. So you saw this engulfing here. Boom. And then right here, this whole thing. There we go. Hopefully you can see that. There you go. What's the downside? So you can see where I've kind of created this. There you go. There's why I'm saying I'm buying it. That's the Fibonacci inside of it. There you go. Boom. And the box. And there's the buyers. So the buyers are stepping in. They're not buying. You can see that you just turned green, by the way, yesterday to the upside. What does this mean to me? Well, it means that there are people buying insurance. And that's what they're doing right now. There's just not enough conviction. There's not enough craziness yet. I can't believe I'm saying that, but there are some craziness out there. So still, what I mean by that is that some macroeconomics, geopolitical issues that we'd be very careful about. So I need everybody to keep your eye out there, and then have what I call the grocery list ready to go. And for me, that grocery list is exactly that: BMY, Pfizer, and Merck. So if the market does pull back, and I expect it to, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Then I'll be my grocery list will be ready to go. My grocery list isn't to buy Nvidia or Eli Lilly. My grocery list is to buy things that are beaten up, that are going to pay me nicely and continue to work. So keep your eye out there. That's where we are. All right, we got about 2 minutes now. I'm going to pull up the cues. I will keep our eye on the tech sector. That, yes, I still believe in that. We got to keep our eye on it, right? But I'm not really seeing a whole lot this morning. We'll keep our eye on it. Anybody have any stocks out there to want to look at? Let's look at them. We are seeing a push to the upside here on the cues. I am seeing one company here, UAVS. There you go. We have, if you've been hanging around here, we've been talking about UAVS for a while. It is a aerospace defense stock. They do all kinds of things, including ag, which I do like. I'll pull up a daily chart there. But be careful out there because they have been, it's been all over the map. So be careful. I kind of expect to pull back here a little bit. That there are a lot of people that were long. You can see here that a few days ago somebody knew something, right? But UAVS is here. Yeah, got some drone approval. Drones are still popular right now, so be careful out there. I know you're going to say, "Oh, well, he's been saying be careful for a little while." Yeah, I do. Um, Remember, I'm the one that also said be buying during the capitulation. I'm also the one who crushed COVID and said, "Look, the markets are crashing. I'm buying." For those people that were around me back then, we all made a ton of money. So we want to make sure that we're protected, right? We can't. It just it's not. This is not a. The markets are a one-way street, always to the upside, right? Um, but it's time, and right now we don't. Time seems to not be on our side. So I'm going to pull up the cues. We've got about 20 seconds here now to the open. I'll keep our eyes here. Boom. And there's a 1 second chart. So let's keep our eye on the open here as we look to prepare. Here we go. All right. Market is open now. Again, not much here. Little bit of profit taking here in the morning. Not much here. Still a little bit of profit taking, but not much. Tesla 322.50 now, up about zero. Now up 1%, 323 now. Tesla. Why do I keep talking about Tesla? It's because it's a trading vehicle. That's why. If you're trading out there, you've watched me over the last few weeks. I've nailed Tesla. I've not had a losing trade in Tesla in over 2 months. So that's why I'm saying Tesla's an easy peasy play. And you watch me do it over and over again here. So remember, we want to hit singles, not home runs all the time. Yeah, there we go. And right now the Qs are only up 0.15%. So 10-year now slipping 4.425%. So money is moving into the bond market. Tick now at 31. So no movement here. Doesn't mean we keep our eye. We got to keep our eyes tight on this, right? Consistency. How do you make money in this market? It's very simple, by doing it over and over and over and daily, every single day. Do me a favor out there. If you like what you hear, hit the repost button. Repost me out there in live. Howard will be back on Monday. Looking forward to that. Talking about crypto. I'm excited about that. He'll be back from his vacation, hopefully rested and ready to go. 324 now, 20 now on Tesla. As I said, the trading vehicle is very much so still there. Q still not doing much, only up 0.19%. Yeah. President Trump will have the signing at 2:30 in the White House. Yeah. And it's pretty quiet, as we said. Tick literally at 11, right? What do I mean by tick? For those of you who are not paying, that wanted to know what I'm talking about, is tick.us. There it is. This is the forward and pot. There you go. I'll pull up a daily chart. This is what, if you pull up a daily chart and tick, this tells you where the normal volume, tick volume is in a day, and where it usually ends up. If you'll notice, this almost always by the end of the day, it ends up about where it is in the middle of the day, which is interesting. But this is the 1 hour, and today I'm not really seeing a negative day here. I can almost tell you when days are negative, and you can see to the downside more negative days. So this is why I'm telling people, be careful out there. The markets aren't telling you we're going to go higher. The market's telling you that we're going to see more negative days. So just be careful out there. Tick down 160 now. And we'll get back to the keeping your eye here in the markets. All right, let's see a little bit of a positive push here. Tick still down, but I'm not seeing it. Tesla up 325. Pretty quiet morning here. As I said earlier, tick down 230. I don't expect much today. Silver now at 38.24 holding, and of course, for those of you who listen to Peter Thomas, he told you if gold holds at 3,300, 33.55 today, that's a buying opportunity. 3,300 seems to be where it's at. When if it loses 3,300, then that's a problem. But right now, pretty quiet morning here. Q still right in that tranche. You can see it. Look at that. One stock that I have been, as everybody here knows, as Google is one of those companies that I've been talking about that is undervalued. There's your daily chart. It is pushing to the upside, but today kind of got smacked down again. But nothing there. And I say undervalued as undervalued compared to the rest of the Mag 7. But look, I'm not liking this market in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Um, And yeah, I know the Nasdaq 100 hit another all-time high, but I think I just don't like it. I don't like this market. I don't like this the feeling behind it here. It just seems that the FOMO here is pushing for no reason, and I don't like. I need a catalyst, and there's no catalyst behind it right now. We are seeing Robinhood. There you go, Robinhood now up 6% on the day on the crypto rally a little bit. Yep, Robinhood still pushing here. I might be taking a little bit of profit here on Robinhood. I'm kind of liking this short here on Hood. Seems like it is starting to peter out a bit here. All right, I am going short. I am gone short Robinhood a little bit here. Look at that. And I will. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Live here on the show. I nailed this one again, right in front of you. I thought that that was where it was, and kaboom. Well done. I shorted 3,000 shares for 60 cents, looks like. Almost could do it again here. If it cannot break to the upside, this is a good learning experience right here. So there we go, a break to the upside. Here it is. Now it could see it again. See these signals coming in? Kaboom. If you're fast, and I talk about it all the time about how to make long-term trades, but that was a quick one right there. Roughly $1,500. So you can see right here. Okay, so yep, here we go again. See this right here? This is a buy signal. Hold on a second. This is a 1 second chart, so we're moving a little fast. I'll pull up a 1 minute chart so you can see what I'm seeing. There you go. Kaboom. That's what we saw here and seeing it here again. I need a little pop to the upside. See how that couldn't push. So it's trying. Yeah, there we go. That's what it is. See, second time up there. There is some sellers up there, but not yet. More selling in Bitcoin, 118.5 now. All right, so here's where we're starting. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I had a feeling that was where it was at. See this big sell signal here on the 1 minute chart? Seeing the MACD about to cross over, give it another pop to the upside, and see the buyer step in one more time. There you go. And we're getting right up there as the volume to the upside is starting to slow down. The histogram is telling you that. And it tried it again. So remember how we saw this little bar here and these bars? That's what I was looking for. And we might look to the downside again. Trading view. We have TradingView actually in Quasar Markets, by the way. So we are looking to short this one again here. I gotta be quick if I'm gonna do this. I think we might have missed the quickness. Yeah, I think the selling's coming in now. There it is. 30 cents already moved. Is it over yet? Not quite sure, but I did miss this one, so I'm not in this one. But if you're paying attention and you're looking at it, same situation here. Could be where the tops are starting to make here, right? Yeah. Yep. There it is. 40 cents, 60 cents already on the move, right? That's a quick move there. Look at that. Look at that selling. That's kind of that's what you need. There you go. 80-cent move, right? Look at that. Even more to the downside. That's what we're looking for. And you can see how it's looking the exact same as this one. These two bars to the downside. The sellers are stronger up there than the buyers were. And they weren't matching. All right. I missed it. So that's on me. Could get another shot at this actually, because it is really struggling up here. Oh, 112.82 here. Okay, and then now there's what we're looking for. See that pop to the upside, heavy pop to the upside, but couldn't push it up. That's what we're looking for. See these here, and can't do it. Getting very close to a sell signal here. That is 4 tries at it. I am looking to sell short again, Hood here. 113.15, 18, 19, and I am now short 113.30 where I shorted it. Yep, 113.34, 38. Now we'll see the seller stepping in a little bit. 40, 33, 28, 40 to cover, 32, 30, 31, 29, 30 again. Big fight here. $14, 16, and I took my profit again. I know it was a quick profit there, but it was a big one. There you go again. So we hit it again. 1 to 112.99. There you go, folks. Well done. It's probably a nice move here for me. Did it again. So I went from cover. Yeah, 113.34, and of course this looks like it's gonna slip a little more because the profit takings. Oh, there you go. There's even more there. So two quick smacks on it, and I think I'm done here for the day. Got about 10 minutes now to the top of the hour here. 326 now on Tesla. It still continues to push higher a little bit here. 118,850. So yeah. 112.85. Could be a little bit more. You can see here three higher bottoms here. It could go back all the way back there. There's your sell signal, by the way. Uh, little too quick there, I think, for me, but well done. Yeah, there's your selling. Hopefully you were paying attention at home, and that's how we trade. Could see even more selling here, actually. All right, got about 8 minutes now to the top of the hour here. Advanced decline line now 28.48 now to the upside. Tick now still fairly flat, minus 33, so nothing there at all. And we're looking at light sweet crude WTI 66.95, so 67 a barrel. Nothing moving there as well. And silver and gold just holding steady. So this is quite a quiet day a little bit here today. So yeah. There's just more selling there in Hood. Um, 327 now on Tesla. It's near the highs of the day. As it is trying to push here. There it is. There's the push. 327.56 there. And the Qs are slipping here. We could could go negative here pretty soon. $328 now on Tesla. Now up almost 3% here. Q is looking very weak here. Flip the 1 minute chart here. Yeah. Key area right here. Tick is still only down 23, so there's no positive or negative in this market. It's very quiet this morning. You need to be very careful here, folks. 328.80 now on Tesla's is pushing up, and the Qs are pushing down. So you're seeing money coming out of the Qs going into Tesla here. Look at this. Could be another. See that big sell we had earlier on Hood. This another one here. Can't seem to break up the upside. All right, there are one, two, three tops here. So if it gets into here and it cannot break above, if it does, then we'll make another short here. This is getting interesting. Okay, you're seeing two spinning tops here, right there. Look at that. That is very negative up there. That means it cannot find direction, and it will find the direction, and it usually is to the downside. We're getting pull up. That's a 1 minute chart right now, but I'm looking at this. Vlad Tenev is the CEO of Robinhood, is coming up next on CNBC. So we'll keep our eye here. Look at this. This thing is getting really interesting up here. It just cannot break to the upside. And the Qs are dropping even further. And Tesla now up 3.09%, 329.29 now a share. So this stock here, look at this. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4 cannot break to the upside. Usually that is a very tell sign of the downside here. See if I'm right. Yeah, there's the selling. Now, will it pass the 112.06 is the question here now. Yeah, there is the selling. Now the question is, does it go below the 112.10 there where we were? Is there enough push to the downside? Sellers to the downside here, 52. I don't know. Seems to be firming up in here. Here we go. One last chance at it. Pull up a 3-minute chart, which is what Wall Street uses. Look at this. That is very negative. So if it can, see, there was your buy signal. Now, if it can break below that, there it is. There it is. It just tipped right below it. So it gave you your out. The question is now, does this thing, the pressure to the upside is slowing up? Hope I gave you guys a good opportunity to look at how I trade sometimes. 3:30 now on Tesla. How I trade and how I catch some of these off this mispricings here. You can see that the buyers are just sweating a bit here, so this could be a drop here. But I want to give you guys a good chance to see how I trade as well live on the air, and we nailed it a couple times. So, all right, for those of you who are playing at home, I'll see you right back here on Monday. We got some cool things. Jim Oreo will be here later today, here in the morning. That's a good one there. 3:30.50 now on Tesla. So, congratulations. All right, guys, we'll see you a little bit later.